logistics, eCarrierChecks is the key. Innovating the process, can't you see? With the platform so smooth, keeps the workflow tight. Efficiency and value, I see every single night. Risk profiles, they got 'em, man, it's no joke. North America's the stage and they never choke. Metrics on point, updated without fail. Chameleon carriers, they're on the trail. Don't play with unsafe companies, don't be that guy. eCarrierChecks, keeping it safe under the sky. 40 plus filters with the search that can drive carrier information in the FMCSA archive. Find your carrier with precision and needs. Location, equipment, feeds. They got the keys. FTL shipper leads. They're right there for you. Real-time authorities, what they do. Crazy, breezy, ultimates. The dashboards away. Freedom from low boards. They got it every day. eCarrierChecks, the architect leading the way.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. Sorry we're a little late today. Jared needed his coffee from Starbucks. What can you do, man? But no, we got a very special guest on, Jimmy from Red Rocket Logistics. Jimmy, how you doing, man?
I'm good, guys. How are you?
We're good, man. We're good. We're excited to catch up with you. We, especially on the show, we met with you a couple months back, and we wanted to pick your brain some more on what you got going on for Acubid and what's going on at Red Rocket Logistics. But how's the week been? Have you seen anything crazy going on this week within the business? How I know we're going to talk carrier broker relationships, but maybe talk about some things that are going on this week.
This week so far, it's quiet, which is surprising considering that Monday was a holiday. I figured It would be pretty hectic. Everybody backed up and everybody needs everything moved right now. But so far, so good. I won't complain. But now that you just jinxed me, I'm sure my emails are haywire.
Yeah,
something's coming.
Hey, I got a quick question. I love the intro. Is that you two's rap persona there?
It is. Jared wrote that rap.
I got to say, we have an interesting sense of humor, Jimmy, and so we like to. We have a Lego one. We got the puppet one. We just have an interesting sense of humor. Jimmy, I'm excited you're on, man. Like a lot of people, here's something interesting about where you're at and what's going on. Hello, everyone. Anyone watching that's a carrier, Jimmy's got some interesting tech that's out there, and I think this is really interesting because the carriers that we talk to that are just getting going or that maybe just need to be readjusted somehow, they miss it. They miss understanding what their costs are, man. Mm-hmm. And so this is what I'm excited about talking with you on is you've built some technology to help them. And this is awesome. Give us an understanding. Jimmy, you obviously been in the industry for a long time. You recognize this as an issue or an area where people could get some help in. Give us a rundown. Like what's your background and how long have you been in this trucking space?
Well, when I got in the industry, I had hair, so that tells you how long I've been in it. Now I'm bald-headed and my beard is going gray.
Yeah,
so that tells you. No, I got in transportation in 2013, guys, and it was one of those. A friend of a friend says, "Yeah, man, I know what I'm doing. Let's buy a truck." One of those type deals, kind of like what's going on now. Your buddy says, "Oh, I'm making $7 a mile. Go get you a truck, man. You'll be rich." And he doesn't tell you all the ins and the outs. So that's how I got started. I actually ran a pallet business, bought some trucks, started collecting pallets for some major players in the game. And that's how it all got started. And now I've transitioned into the brokerage side of things. So, nice. But in that time, in my dealings across those 10, 11 years now, I dealt with a lot of owner operators. And I learned the hard knocks way how to figure out your cost per mile, because when you're not making a profit, boy, you start digging in real deep trying to figure out what you did wrong. So, but my question would always become, "Hey, Joe, what's it take to run your truck?" Because, you want me to book you freight. You're going to run under me. Everybody's got to make their piece. So you need to know a number. What does it take to run your truck? And Joe would be like, "Well, I don't know. I'd like to get, $275 a mile." Well, Joe, let's be realistic here, buddy. What does it take to run your truck? And then we can figure out if we can make some money. So that's how it all got started, man. It's been a brainchild for years, and I finally got it built and got it going.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love, obviously we got inspired to build eCarrierCheck from kind of that same avenue. We were in the brokerage space, and then I saw this moment where I was like, we really need to help people find carriers a better way outside of load boards. And we, successfully have done that for 4.5 years now. And it's interesting when you build technology, it's something that really struck with me was your goal before you really even built this technology was exactly that. You wanted to help them figure out their costs and what it took to run their truck, which I loved that you had. Here's what's going on. Here's the goal. Let's build some tech, man. And I love that. Obviously, you have this other company. It's called AcubidPro.com. Check this out. It's an app, right? Give us kind of a rundown of what it does for owner operators or for people in that aspect.
Well, it's the constant struggle, man. If you guys probably do it because I do it too. You follow tons of transportation on social media, so you see the constant ebbs and flows of, oh, this company don't pay crap, or oh man, these cheap freight rates, and oh this and oh that, and it's always somebody's fault other than your own. We're quick to place blame instead of look in the mirror, because typically that's where the blame is at. Let's just be honest. But no, Acubid Pro, it's exactly what it says. I mean, Acubid is where you're at. I mean, if you own a truck, you have to understand your cost per mile in order to bid a lane appropriately, in order to see a profit and loss that makes sense. You're not going to win on every lane. Let's don't get it crazy. If you go into Florida, coming out of Florida, you're probably going to get hosed. So you're laughing because it's true. So the ultimate goal of it is the beginning setup part is really just getting your cost per mile. Right there, bam, you got that. Then you go into the app and actually use it. It's integrated with maps, the whole nine, so that you will get an accurate range of bids to talk to brokers. Because let's be honest, those COVID prices are gone. You don't get to call up the broker and say, I want $450 a mile. Here's what happens. Broker says, click. He doesn't even say no thanks. He just hangs up the phone. So the concept behind Acubid Pro is if you throw out a better number initially, you can at least get in the conversation with the broker to negotiate something that is fair for everybody. Now that you've done it, you put that information into the app and save it. And in the backside, there's an automatic running profit and loss for what you're doing. And it runs every 30 days. At the end of 30 days, it emails it to you, and it's right there. It's your pocket profit and loss statement without having to do anything extra. It's all right there on your phone, which you're already on all day because you're an owner operator. Hopefully you're not beating load boards to death, but you probably are some during the week because you're trying to fill in gaps.
Yeah.
So, that's the gist of it. I know that's kind of a long-winded answer to your question.
Yeah.
But that's the gist of it.
Yeah, I love it too, because we talk about understanding your costs. And I think what this tool can do is really help you build just a better relationship with brokers that you are talking to. Because, if you don't understand or have a reason to give them why you're at this rate, it's harder to understand. And like you're right, Jimmy, they'll just hang up. But I think all the good carriers are doing this. It's, hey, this is what I need. This is why I need to be profitable, and kind of lay it out. And I watched some of your demos on Acubid Pro, and it's pretty self-explanatory for people to get on and start using it. And like I told you, I think it's huge to have a 30-day trial, and they can reach out to you for questions, but you have 30 days to figure out if this is really going to help you or not. And I think this is a tool that really can help you, just make that gap even better with broker relationships and understanding things like that.
Yeah, from a bidding perspective as a broker, you really want to talk to a carrier that understands their costs, is not just throwing it out willy-nilly.
Right.
And sometimes the load boards are kind of a willy-nilly situation. I'm always a big fan of identifying blind spots. when you're working with, younger carriers, newer carriers, however you want to word that there, what costs do they overlook that they don't really put in? What are some of the things that they're missing that you see, like a lot of people overlook when they're working through their costs usually?
A lot of times they're not factoring their maintenance high enough, and they're not factoring actually paying themselves. Or if they are, they're factoring it in at an outrageous rate. You guys run a business, and I guarantee you do not live out of your business bank account. You have set salaries or whatever that you're allowed to take weekly or monthly or whatever your arrangement is. It's no different than any other business. You can't just live out of it. It is a business. You need to set aside that I'm going to make 50 cents a mile, or I'm going to make 60 cents a mile or whatever. That way, at the end, there is profit, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's some set factors that you really can't mess up. If you have a truck note, your truck note is this set amount. Your insurance is this set amount. Where you miss at is maintenance, and you're going to miss on paying yourself. Those are the biggest things. You could leave out some little things like back office stuff. Say you forgot to put down how much your renewal is for your state, license. Okay, so you missed that $500. In the grand scheme of the year, against your total mileage, that $500 is not amounting to a penny. If it really it's not going to make a difference. Right. So you can't miss on the big things. When you miss on the big things, that's when you hit me up at info@acubidpro.com and say, hey, bro, I'm losing still. Tell me what I'm missing. And man, I'll talk you through it. Let's look at your receipts, man. Are you factoring in every time you're buying oil? Are you factoring in the DEF fuel you're getting? Did you factor in that tire you just blew last week? Or are you just at the end of each week, you're like, man, my account shows I got $2,000, and you're just taking it all out. And then the next week you have a problem. Now you're in your pocket. So, it's simple, but it's not simple. It's a different way of thinking, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting, to talk with newer owner operators or people that are just jumping in, and I find it interesting, well, shouldn't I make money on every load? And I'm like, well, it kind of depends on the friggin' city you're going to. If you took a weird amount of revenue going into Denver, you're not going to get that same revenue out, and they were trying to understand that from that perspective of, okay. And I was like, just look at it as a whole. You've got to go, okay, I just took one into Denver, I'm going out of Denver. Did it break even at the end of the week? Or what do you recommend for carriers that when they're looking at their costs, do they look at it every week, every day, every load? Is it an average over 30 days? What do you recommend?
Of course, you want to average it over the 30 days because that's going to give you a true test of what you did. If you're staying regional, that'll give you a good idea of what you're doing. Now, if you're doing local, that's a completely different beast. Local is priced completely different. You can't price local per mile. You have to kind of price it to your time, if that makes sense. But a lot of that comes with experience. Let's be honest. I mean, I got in transportation, and the very first load I took going up northeast. And the very first thing out of the gate, like the truck burns an air compressor, damn near burns the truck to the ground. And of course, all that stuff was not factored in. I took huge losses. Then I get up northeast and I get hit with all these toll roads that I knew nothing about. So of course, none of that was factored into my rate. And it was just like, wow, I'm getting killed here. I'm getting out of trucking. And this is, this is week one, brother. I want to sell this thing. But experience teaches you, if you're not the driver of your truck, get an experienced driver who can help you along the way. That's a bonus. I mean, there's so much to it, but it's a very close-knit group and a very private group, if you will. Joe's not going to tell you I called broker so-and-so and he's willing to pay you this kind of money to go here, because Joe's not going to give up his contact. He might tell you I'm making great money pulling this lane, but he ain't going to give you the info to make that great money. So it's kind of just, you got to learn as you go. See what markets are moving, see what seasonal freight is moving, because seasonal freight, always pays better. Be willing to jump ship. If today you're pulling intermodal containers and containers drop off, well, if reefer freight is up, why not go rent a reefer? If the reefer freight is up, you're going to make your money back. If the hot lanes are in the Midwest, why are you sitting here on the East Coast? I mean, you gotta get a feel for it, really, what it comes down to. Don't rely on everything you hear. Like I said, the COVID prices, they sent everybody into a scramble, and everybody and their brother bought a truck because everybody's making $7 a mile. That stuff's not here. And that's how you go out of business, thinking you're going to make $7 a mile all the time. What you want to do is average out to be profitable and have a number in your head. Whether it's 10, 15, 20%, if you're making 20% profitability across all your loads, you're probably doing pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're definitely seeing the ash still fall from the sky. It's interesting how the pandemic had a lot of people jump in, and we're still seeing those trucking companies going out of business. Each week, I mean, honestly, we still see the negative effect of that crazy kind of gold rush, if you will. It's like the modern day gold rush. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's not a piece of land that people were trying to go break into and see if there's gold in there.
Right.
There's, a piece of equipment and run some supply chain. That kind of goes to say where people follow gold rushes pretty quickly. So
Yes, they do. They'll jump ship on you quick, and they'll jump on board real quick. You got a bunch of bandwagon guys, but the guys who are in this for the long haul, they'll understand exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
You can follow the freight. If you've been in the game long enough, you can follow the freight, and the seasons and everything else. I mean, you just got to learn it. It's like anything else.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you kind of hit it on the head too. I think a lot of it's experience. And, one thing that I love that Jared says all the time is, if you're a broker trying to find maybe some loads out of an area you're not familiar with, I think you should call carriers up in that area and just kind of pick their brain a little bit, or maybe you might find a good relationship to help you move some loads up in that area too. So that's what's nice with the eCarrierCheck, is we give you that ability to play that game, what's high right now seasonally and what's not. So you have that opportunity to really pick your own journey.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do. I mean, and everybody says, oh, the way you get, the best freight is get your own shipper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great idea. But if you're a one truck guy, can you really service your own shipper in reality and make money? I hope you can. Mm-hmm. But when the shipper calls and wants his freight moved, well, he expects you to be there to move his freight. You get some that are flexible, like, I can wait till Wednesday when you get there. But then you got those that are, no, this has to go today.
Yeah.
So I don't recommend living off of load boards.
Right.
But you should make very good relationships with the brokers. And by good relationship, the broker needs to do what the broker says he's going to do. I'm going to pay you X amount of dollars. I'm going to give you the information for the load and not waste your time. As carrier, you need to be on time. Your equipment needs to be serviceable, and you need to do what you say you're going to do. That's how you make a good relationship. It's not, oh, I'll do you a favor. It's let's work together.
Yeah, and I think you got to be proactive in that sense too. Like, if I was an owner operator and I had shipper A, and I'm still picking up loads from other brokers that I have relationships with, if my direct relationship with that shipper, I probably, in my opinion or my eyes, I'm going to give them a schedule of my week and say, hey, I'm picking up loads these days. I'm available on these days and these times. So there's a lot of things I think an owner operator has to do to be proactive, and it's not easy.
No, it's not. I mean, it's hard to be driving the truck and be a salesman for yourself all at the same time, because you got to pick up and you got to go to the next one. I mean,
yeah, your time is spent behind a wheel. It's not necessarily behind a phone.
If the wheels aren't rolling, you're not making money. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, exactly. I really love that you built this tool out there, especially coming from your background, it's not built from some guy that just has a tech background. You have a full understanding of carriers, brokers, and what it takes to run that business. Jimmy, I'm super jacked for you. How do people find this app? Obviously, it says on the screen, or I guess we may not be able to see the screen, but if you just type in Acubid on the App Store, is it there?
It's in the App Store. It's in the Apple Play, whatever you call that, because I'm not the tech guy. You can download it. You can get the link through our website. We're on every social media platform there is, trying to run ads and do advertisement. I come on with you guys to talk about it because, for one, I use eCarrierCheck in my business on a daily basis. So I support you guys, and I'm glad you returned the favor and support me.
Of course.
But at word of mouth, I mean, that's one of the biggest things. There's so many people who don't want to admit they don't know because they know everything. Well, do you? Or are you going home and in your downtime, you're sitting down and having to put all this stuff on pen and paper, or get on your computer and put it all in your computer? You can do it right there on the go, right there from your phone. And
I really do.
What's even better, not to cut you off,
you're fine. You're fine.
Coming this month, hopefully, fingers crossed, y'all see that, fingers crossed, we're going to launch the web version of this. And the web version is going to be for multi-unit fleets.
Nice.
That way, dispatching services can offer this as a tool to their carriers. And the guy who owns 10 or 20 trucks, his back office can use this, because a lot of people don't get it, but a big company can do this way different than a little company. A big company gets to say across the board, this is my cost per mile. Not necessarily specific to one truck, but across the board. So if across the board my cost per mile is $1.80, I can pull freight less than you can when your cost per mile for your one truck is $2.15.
Yeah, it's nice to spread those costs across there. You know what I mean?
That's how the big companies do it. People wonder how Swift became Swift and how Knight became Knight. Well, that's how. They took it from one, they built it out, and guess what? When they built out, they brought their cost per mile down.
Real quick. Yeah, real quick.
Because, for one, they're so big, they're self-insured, which helps a ton. But yeah, when you can spread it out and you get some older trucks in the fleet, some newer trucks in the fleet, you can get that balanced out, man, your cost per mile is down. All of a sudden, I can pull lanes that you can't pull, and I can pull them for a profit.
I love that.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, sorry, Jared. The one thing I was going to say, because, I sat in a couple of carrier classes, and, we were taking numbers on notepads, and I felt like I was in math class again, just taking notes, and I was like, this is terrible. But I love how, if you guys wanted a brief understanding of how this works, you lay it out really nice here. And for someone like me, I would just love to have this on my phone and just almost just kind of walk you through step by step on how to use this and just access everything and get your numbers right. So for all those carriers watching, definitely go see how this is laid out for you. I think it's super helpful. Like I said, I felt like I was taking math again and writing everything down in a spiral notebook, and it just wasn't for me. So this is huge.
Let's be honest, with a 30-day free trial, what do you have to lose?
Yeah. Exactly.
Not a thing.
Exactly. 100%.
Exactly.
You got nothing to lose by looking at it, checking it out, and going from there. If you use it the way it's intended, you will see a difference.
Right.
I'm a big fan that you're veteran owned.
Well, that's me, brother.
I love that, man. Like what service, where'd you serve?
United States Army, man.
Good for you, man.
Thanks for your service.
Oh, no problem, brother. I enjoyed every minute of it, and I still miss it from time to time.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, thank you for your service. We appreciate that. We appreciate, just getting somebody that's got some travel knowledge like you, helping out the industry. Big fan of it. Anything we can do to help and share your story is something that we're definitely on board for. So,
I appreciate it. Trust me, you don't know the turmoil that it was to say, I'm in the transportation industry, and to say I own a brokerage, but I built this to support owner operators, because so many people think a broker is the bad guy or the word profit is bad. Brokers are not bad. We're trying to navigate between a customer and a carrier. Everything I bid, my business model is, what does the customer need? How does the carrier make profit? And me in the middle make a little profit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just life. I think we can all work together without constantly cutting each other's throats. I mean, yeah, there are some lanes that you just can't get a customer to move on because they have cost as well. And they're set that I'm going to stick in this number. But at the same time, as a carrier, you can't come in and be like, ooh, I want, $2,000 to go 100 miles and honestly expect to get it. I mean, so hopefully the tool is there to actually help.
Right.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm a big fan. Jimmy, obviously people can go to acubidpro.com. How do people get in touch with you personally? Is there a social platform? Is there an email? Is there a phone number? What's the best way to get a hold of you, Jimmy?
Well, you're trying to get me to give out my phone number. That's not good. I'm just kidding. Info@acubidpro.com. Info, INFO at acubidpro.com. Man, I'm very attentive. Hit me up on social media. I'll get back with you.
Cool, man. I love that. I'm just such a fan. I love homegrown software. Obviously, we're homegrown software. We're just trying to make a difference and add some value to the people that are out there. Jimmy, thank you for being on today, man. I'm super excited. Hit up in acubidpro.com or hit Jimmy up and try out his free trials, 30 days free. Just see what it's like.
Hurt.
Yeah. I may run it on my car and just see where it goes. Just get my costs in. You know what I mean? Like,
see what your cost per mile is.
Exactly. I love it, man. Jimmy, thanks for being on, brother. It's good to have you.
Hey, thank you guys very much, man. Y'all have a great day, and we'll talk again soon.